If you aren't acting like a man, you may be acting like a boy. Hey, welcome back to the Stand Up Dude podcast. I'm your host, Stuart White, along with
Tim Basano. What's up, guys?
Hey. So, last podcast, which happened to be our very first podcast.
Oh, yes, it was.
You hit on a few things. And can you just, by way of refresher, tell us what those were?
Yeah, I said that a stand-up dude stands on the rock. I got that from the Lord says, "Behold, there's a place beside me, and you shall stand there on the rock." That's Exodus 33:21. And a stand-up dude stands for the truth. Jesus said to him, "I'm the only way to God and the real truth and the real life." Oh, man, the real truth and the real life. That's what I'm talking about. That was my addition, by the way. And he said, "No one comes to the Father but through me." That's John 14:6. That's why we start with Jesus, with Stand Up Dude, by the way, because he says that you got to come through me. And I said that a stand-up dude stands with God and other men. He said, "Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous, to not be terrified or dismayed? For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go."
So, yeah, we hit these main points that you're standing on, you're standing for, and you're standing with. And so those were kind of the foundational things we covered in that first episode. Then you had a verse that you shared, and I think that actually leads into this episode really well. But could you read that one again for us?
Yeah, it's kind of the anchor, and it's got 5 anchors throughout. It's in 1 Corinthians 16, 13 through 14. Right at the top of the website, actually, you'll see these anchors in this verse and a little unwrapping of what we're going to be talking about today. In Corinthians 16, 13, 14, it says, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong, and let all that you do be done in love."
So I like that you've got these ideas of these 5 anchors, right?
Yeah.
Why did you pick anchors? What's kind of the significance of that?
Well, if you imagine a ship that's just adrift by itself, adrift at sea, just being tossed by the waves at every whim of emotion or culture or negativity that's surrounding them. Anchors are the things that I just mentioned in our life that specifically in this situation that men need as anchors to remain firmly grounded.
I like that. So kind of these soul anchors, these life anchors, if you will.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I just love anchors.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. They're just cool. They make great tattoos.
If I had enough skin, I'd get like 50 anchors all over. 50.
You could probably set a world record with that, I think.
I probably could,
yeah. So tell us about that again. We kind of, you hit on the very first one, you mentioned it, but let's just hit all 5 real quick and we'll circle back on them. What is anchor number 1?
Yeah, man, just the first 2 words of that incredible verse that I kind of feel is custom made for men. The first 2 words are "be watchful." And I like to think of that as a watchful man is an aware man.
He knows what's going on.
He does. He knows what's going on in his family. He knows what's going on around him, and he knows what's going on. He's in touch with emotionally. He is aware that he's out of line. He's aware that he's possibly procrastinating. He's aware his tongue is too sharp. He's also aware of his household. He's aware of his spiritual condition. He is aware.
What you're really describing is a man who's present. You can't be those things 100%. And be living in the past or your head in the clouds in the future.
Right.
You're aware of what's going on.
That was the next thing that comes to mind about being watchful. Is a watchful man is present. And a watchful man also shows up. He shows up when he says he will. Emotionally, physically, and spiritually, he shows up. And this actually, just those first 2 words in that verse is in relation to stand up, dude. This is our challenge for men to not check out. Men check out a lot.
Yeah, they do.
And this is our challenge to be watchful You can't check out and be watchful.
So we got watchful down.
Yeah.
What is that second anchor in the list?
Yeah. Second anchor is stand firm. Actually, it's just the next two words in the verse. Stand firm. And standing is hard. Faith is hard. But men are built to do hard things. And this is our challenge at Stand Up Dude, to challenge men to stand up, to walk out their faith, and keep standing.
So we have stand firm. That's a big part of the Stand Up Dude.
Yeah.
What is anchor number 3?
Anchor three is act like men.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's moderately clear.
Yeah.
It says just act like men, the third point. And what I love about that is men are just so built for action. Men are not passive. Men take responsibility for their actions. That's one of the first things that you're taught if you have grown up around other men, maybe grandpa and their grandpa taught them. And it's that men take responsibility. They take responsibility for their actions. And this is our challenge at Stand Up Dude, to act like the man that we're created to be, to take responsibility for your life, to take responsibility to be the man that God has created you to be.
I love that. And there's this implication that if you aren't acting like a man, you may be acting like a boy.
Yeah.
It isn't, it's a choice to act like men.
Yeah. So good. So good, Stuart. Yeah. So many pieces in society today are just kind of set up to keep boys forever, and certainly not for men to be men. So thank you for that great reminder.
Yeah, you're definitely right. The culture does seem geared toward ease and pleasure and not difficult, hard things.
But men are built for action. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. You're craving it, but you're also denying it.
Yeah, that's the part where I sometimes see, not all, but many young men, that there's a little bit of a zombie look to their eyes because they've only chosen the easy way. And they wonder why they're depressed or what's wrong with them. And it's because they're built for action. They're built for difficulty. They're built to solve. They're built to stand up.
Yeah.
And when they don't do that, like I said a minute ago, depression can be waiting at the door for that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So number 4, we have be strong.
Yeah.
Dig into that a little more for me.
All right. Well, strength comes from standing, really. Though gravity really can be very fierce, the good thing is we don't stand alone. This is really our challenge, to become strong by standing.
All of that, according to the verse, it kind of wraps back into this idea. Like all of it sounds pretty masculine. And then we end up on this last part. Number 5, which is do in love.
Do in love.
Okay, unpack that a little bit.
Okay, well, the do part, personally, men do. They like to get things done.
Yeah.
And then that's when they know they're living in what they're designed to do. And when we don't live in that, again, you can find yourself pretty lost. So men are made to do in love, it says. Very interesting, I think, because those other 4 anchors could kind of look like He-Man, chest beating, woman hater, almost type of the true toxic masculinity.
Yeah, what the culture's calling toxic. Yeah.
Righto. But it matches it so beautifully and balances it with the end but make sure that you do everything that you do in love. Love is not a feeling. Love is something that you do, and doing can be hard. A man puts others first. And this is our challenge, to be a real man like Jesus. This verse isn't really only about being a man. It's about being a leader. A leader is what we're built to be. And a leader is one who knows the way and shows the way, and he goes the way. And I can't help but ask, who does that sound like to you, Stuart? Who does this sound like? Someone that knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way.
Sounds a lot like Jesus. That might be the Sunday school answer, though, but I think that's the right answer.
I know. It is the Sundays. I hear you, and I hope that I didn't set that up in a way where it sounded like that, but I think I did. Jesus just lived it always. He knew that people don't always follow your words, but they'll follow your feet. And leaders call forward the best in us by first walking the walk. No one did that better than Jesus.
That is so good. And I love that one of the key things that we do at Stand Up Dude is, we mentioned it in the first episode, we're not just calling men out in a shameful way. We're actually calling them forward and into a life of risk, of taking risks, of a challenging life, but of facing the truth about themselves and then dealing with that truth. And so, we talk about a stand-up dude is a Christ follower.
Right.
They're a leader because as they're following Christ, others are following them, right?
Yes. A Christ following leader doing what he says that he's doing will call forward other men to be their best as well. That's what a leader does. That doesn't mean it's easy. They're willing to take an uncomfortable look at their life and wrestle with the question. These are stand-up dudes. If I had to paraphrase, it would be a man that is willing to wrestle with the question, am I really living all out? Am I all in? Am I willing, with God's help, to do the work to discover and uncover or rediscover the man that I'm created to be?
So good, man. I mean, I feel like this is something, one of the reasons I think guys, we mentioned in the first episode, they have a vitriol to some of this. It's because it actually is poking something that's a little raw in them. And they think it's like you go to the doctor and if they're checking your, like for appendicitis, if they push on it and you think, oh, the problem is the doctor's pushing, I'll just slap the doctor. Instead of going, oh no, the doctor just pinpointed there's a problem right there, right? And so I think that some of the men who are listening, maybe that's you listening right now, some of these things are hitting you and you're going, I don't like you guys. I don't know about this. I want to challenge you that as you're listening and you're thinking it through, maybe it's hurting for a different reason. Maybe it's hurting. Maybe it's tender because there's something there that I believe God is revealing to you through us, through this Stand Up Dude podcast. And if it is, I want you to be able to go to our website. There will be links in the show notes, and we want you to follow up. We have a few different things on there. You'll see a link in the show notes for if you don't know Jesus yet, we want you to know Jesus. So that's your first step. Yeah. That's the first step 100%. We always push. But if you know him and you've just been kind of stagnant or you just became a Christian, we want to help you in your growth. Yeah. So go to those links, look them up in the show notes, and then hit us up. Yeah. You can email us at the website. You can reach out to us at podcast@standupdude.com. Right. We want to hear from you. We can take it. You can send your hate. You can send your love. You can send your questions. We serve a God who's big enough. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for caring enough about yourself and the people in your life to be a stand-up man, to be a stand-up dude, and to be the man that God has certainly called you to be. Thank you for listening.